Okay, Nick Dutch back again one more time. Hey, how's it going? Received a PM, and I'm going to respond to it in the form of a video because I think it's easier just to sit here and talk and tell you what I think rather than make a reply to that individual, and maybe something that I'll say here will be of use to some people out there. I don't know. It might be, it might not. What the heck? It's just me, no script, one camera. You get what you're given, okay? The message says, "Hey Nick Dutch, hi. I'm enjoying your channels a lot. They're full of very helpful insights. Thank you very much. You did a reading recently for People X. It was very much enjoyed by all of us here at People Y. I'm not going to say who that is in case they don't want me to, okay? I've been meaning to ask you about chaos magic. Notice some of the figures within chaos magic are wary about astrology. Vedic and Western astrology are intensely useful tools and assets for psychological, mundane considerations, yet chaos magicians often dismiss these systems. Any ideas onto why that might be? One justification might be that there are many variables. Came across slightly lazy, but maybe I'm not grasping at the perspective that they're coming from on this. Okay. What do chaos magicians do? They try and effect some variety of change in the outer world using psi power type techniques. Alright, that's what they do. That is the main primary focus. There's much less emphasis on mysticism, on trying to understand the world, and all the rest of that jazz. Which is curious because they often suggest that they've got some kind of connection to, of course, the more traditional occultists from the previous couple of centuries. But that's not really the case because they move away from symbolism. Aleister Crowley tried to encourage people to use the Tree of Life and use the spheres on the Tree of Life in their own way. So you work out what a particular symbol means, you take all the experiences from your life, and you apply it, the ones which are relevant to that symbol. That's your thoughts, your feelings, your moods, your experiences, jobs you've done, tasks you've had, arguments you've had with various different types of bosses, types of car that you've driven, anything which is of that energy, okay, anything or of that meaning, I should say. And from that you can build up even more of a creative understanding of what a particular symbol means, for instance. And you can do that with any form of symbology. Any form of symbology at all. That's how you build an understanding as to what it means. Same with me doing my tarot. That's basically what it's all about. Okay? But chaos magicians, they don't necessarily want to do that. That's why I think they use sigillation. Because it requires no study or contemplation all that much. You just have an idea, you write it down, use the letters from what you've written down, after you've removed the repeating letters, and make some kind of pretty pattern out of it, and then adjust it further and further through progressive stages until it doesn't represent what you originally wrote down. And from that point you use that as your objects of meditation. You use a mantra made up out of a few of those letters in whatever way seems comfortable, and that's basically how the process occurs. So their interest is in trying to get results. So the focus then is on the variety of sleight of mind which you can achieve. Now, I personally discovered or decided that the state of mind of gnosis that they're always talking about is easier to reach through essentially religious techniques, and therefore prayer, when taken to its logical and extreme conclusion, being tranquil, reverent and prayerful, will provide more or less the same kind of effects. And a suspension of disbelief which occurs through religious activity can also help to, launch your prayer request or whatever it is, or your sigil. It's all the same stuff, really, okay? Very similar techniques, just slightly different cultures and traditions that go into it. So essentially, the chaos magicians realize that there's lots of people out there who are thick as two short planks and thoroughly mentally disturbed, and really shouldn't get involved with anything occult anyway. So they try and act confusing, and they try and distract people by saying, no, astrology is the right thing for you. Yes. Yeah, why don't you read some up on astrology? That will help you. Yes. And so that they're doing this, I actually think that's very dishonest. Because when someone has a need, they will want to try and get that need fulfilled one way or another. Now, it would be better if the Chaos Magicians would turn around and say, well, I'm sorry, but that kind of result cannot actually occur. Obviously ask them why they want to get involved with this stuff in the first place, and say, well, I don't think that that can actually happen, and there's no real point in you actually doing this, because you're not going to get the results that you're after. So instead, what they do is they waste the time of the inquirer. Alright? Because they don't give a shit. They just don't give a shit. So, I've got issues with that approach. And it's become culturally ingrained because, the great Pope of Chaos, or whatever he wants to call himself, Peter J. Carroll, suggested, and I think it was Liber Chaos, that people should, tell everyone to just go and read up about astrology. That's there for a different type of person. So, I don't rate it all that much. I think that's a very bad attitude. That's why I think they do it. And that's more or less I could say on it. I think that people who are genuine about their occultism should be able to say what they think can happen, and to be able to provide some detailed and intelligent justification of that. However, and unfortunately, most occultists are in fact pretty thick. And they don't understand the meanings of the words they're using, and they are a pain in the arse. Which doesn't help anyone whatsoever. Alright? Most occultists are not the kind of people I'd want to be associated with. Right? They become religious lunatics. There's often a certain time in the occultist life. Sorry, I'll have to come back to you on this.